All right, Brett Allen here with the Brett Allen Show, talking about the Ark Season 2. We have Reece, we have Richard, two of the stars. Such a great season so far. I'm excited for this. Thank you both for your time. It's great to meet you today and talk to you about another great season.
Likewise. Thanks for having us.
Likewise.
Yes, well, you probably wouldn't remember, but we spoke to you, I think it was last year or somewhere around there, where we talked about the first season and how you were setting the stage to tell this story. And we're getting to know all the characters. Well, now we've met everybody and we've seen these stories continued and expanded. Richard, we'll start with you. How does it feel to have a season 2 of anything, really, which is a huge deal, and to be able to expand on these characters' stories? Reece, same for you. So you have a minute to study for the test before the before the train approaches.
I appreciate the heads up. Thanks.
Listen, it's a very, very lovely thing whatever it is you're creating, that if you send it out to the world and people have a positive feedback, and as you alluded to, it doesn't happen all that often. It's certainly never a guarantee. So we were all incredibly delighted, I think, that people had taken the show in, and there seemed to be a real sort of energy within the fan base to kind of know what was going to happen. They were invested in the characters and stuff, and the writers have kind of, I would say, taken things not just to second or third gear, but way up to fifth in the latter half of this season. Now things are about to really is it Gandalf that says things are in motion that cannot be corrected?
Yeah.
And you'll see it gets pretty intense from here, man. So
that was a good impression. You should.
It wasn't. If you want impressions, this is your man. Put him on the spot, make him do impressions.
I know. I have read this that he's like, this is not SAG sanctioned. Okay,
very good at impressions. But yeah, so yes, AM1, we're delighted, and BN2, very excited to see people's reactions to what's about to happen in the end of season 2.
Reece.
Yeah, it's funny. You get back to Serbia, you get back in your dressing room, you put on the costume again, and I think one of the main fears is that you repeat a lot of what you did in season 1.
Yes.
And you are at the behest of the writers and the creators, because ultimately they put the words on the page and you have to say them. And what was such a relief was that it, just like as Richard said, it just took off in a whole other dimension, literally, in a lot of ways this season. So that was great. I think Jonathan, Glassner and Dean really understand that the show has to keep running forwards if it's going to survive, if it's going to, have the lifeblood flow through it. So overjoyed to go back. It was such a gift, but also quite scary that, we have to make sure that we raise the bar. So it comes with a lot of challenges and a lot of pressure. But fortunately, the scripts were there. The scripts lived up to it. And, they were super brave and super true to what the show was, which is not an easy cocktail to rummage up, So, yeah, we had an absolute blast. I mean, a lot of new characters, a lot of new storylines, and a lot of unexpected events.
Yes. It's interesting, again, when you know that you have a season 2 coming. As an actor and storyteller, oftentimes you have an opportunity to think about, how you're going to play this character. As you alluded to, both of you, that, change it up a little bit, not make it super myopic but you have to dig deeper into the well, so to speak, to tell the story in an honest and sincere way. I'm interested to know, again, Richard, for you, and then Reece, when you find out you have a season 2, what space are you in mentally as an actor, knowing, okay, now we've told season 1, how do I dig deeper into my toolbox as an actor and add more layers to this? Because number 1, the writing calls for it. Number 2, the fans expect it.
Yeah, well, I mean, essentially, you've always got to be true to the character and what the character's going through. And luckily for us as characters, we had traveled a significant arc, pun intended, during the first season. Yes. So we all of our characters were in a substantially different place than when we first met them, which is obviously perfect, because then we entered season 2 literally on a moving train. Again, pun intended.
Yeah, like the picture behind me.
Like the poster behind you. And so all we really had to do was kind of grasp on to the reality of their situation there. And what was doubly nice was the writers have never been afraid to kind of delve into the real meaning, emotional junk, as it were, of these characters and the confusion and the frustrations of them all existing in this tiny, well, not tiny, but this metal box flying through space. They really delved there this season, and they really allowed the emotions and the love and the happiness and the frustration and the pain and the anger. It all comes out in various ways with various people. So it's the perfect way to allow us all to kind of delve in and see how these characters are going to react in those situations.
Yes. Well, Reece, I would ask the same question as of you, but in a different way. Oftentimes there's the journey of booking the role, which you've obviously done. Then there's getting the script and then filming it. And then it's out for people to watch on Sci-Fi. For you, is it all one big journey as a storyteller, or are they each a separate journey from audition, from script to screen?
That's a really great question. I
Thank
think
you.
you have to look at the format in order to answer that question. I mean, early in my career, I did some films where you are a supporting character who's important to the story, but you only have like 5 scenes in order to create who this person is, get the audience on side, the kind of pivotal turn in that character's development, and then either they're killed off or their job in that film is kind of concluded. That's really difficult. The great thing about a series is you have a lot more time in order to build nuance and to allow the audience to kind of seep in by osmosis into these characters. So I think that kind of bleeds out into all of the other parts, like you saying, the pre-production and the post-production and the waiting for it to come out and stuff like that. You spend a lot of time with these characters, so you get used to spending time with the whole process, the whole creative process, and also personally with other actors. It's less of a kind of a short, sharp shock of like, you're in, this is your day, don't mess it up. I remember on The Lovely Bones, like Peter Jackson coming up to me saying, this is a really important scene. And basically what he was saying was like, get it right, because we need to get this is important. And I was just petrified, with a TV show, when you're doing like 24 episodes or 12 episodes a season and you're not doing 24 of them, that's a real gift, because you can really let things go and take your time. But once you earn your fan base, I feel like then they're staying, because they've been on that journey with you as well. I hope that answers your question.
It does. Well, say like you take on a role like Warner from Legally Blonde, that's like a different character, or something like that. Very cool stuff. Well, I want to ask you, Richard, I'm interested to know, for you, is it is the journey all one, or is it separate for you, say from like, you're doing a West End or Broadway show to say, a story like this? Are the journeys all together? Are they separate? Like, what is that process?
When you say journey, do you mean the journey for each individual job, from the getting of the job?
Yeah, from the, like, say you get the offer, and then there's the script, and then there's the audition, and then it's either putting it on film or performing it live, depending.
I mean, fundamentally, the answer is, in a broader sense, would be no, because there are different requirements that are for different jobs. So, if I'm doing a job that I feel, I immediately go, I know exactly who this guy is. He sounds a lot like me. He looks a lot like me. He's been through the same stuff I've been through, and he happens to be living his life in London. Then it's like, oh, okay, that's pretty. I can probably do that pretty quick. But obviously, the further out from yourself you travel, and the more the requirements of the job that are put on you, it kind of takes that little bit more of kind of, okay, well, where is this guy from? With, say, for instance, with James, like, he was written as Glaswegian, and I was like, well, if there's one nation of people you don't want to piss off, it's the Scots. So I was like, I better get this right. So that was like, it was a lot of really trying to hone in on that and what would make him him and the colloquialisms of him and stuff. But I guess in the broadest of senses, yes, that it is similar. It's a similar journey. You're trying to reach out for something, but in terms of its actual sort of technical requirements, each job is on an individual basis. Yeah.
I love it. Well, just a couple more questions here as we wrap. Again, season 2, so good. Having watched, just a few episodes so far, and you really are on a different type of trajectory. Train ride, again, to use that as an example.
There's a lot of commotion.
A lot of commotion, yes. Reece for you, and then Richard for you, and then we'll probably have to wrap. But out of what we've seen so far and what's coming without any spoilers, what is the most interesting or exciting thing you're happy for the fans to learn about your storyline this season that we haven't seen before? Again, without spoiling anything, if there's anything that just comes to the top of your head.
Oh, the unanswerable question.
It's running a gauntlet here, isn't it?
Yeah. It's kind of, I think when I was reading the scripts, they really caught me off guard. You've got a lot of characters there doing things happening that you just would never, ever see coming. But I never, for 1 second, felt like it was gratuitous, because you see things like albums, your second album syndrome and things like that, where people will try and emulate someone else or do something else or completely change their sound in order to keep everybody interested. And it would have been so easy out of fear for the creators of this show to go, let's just bring in a big alien or something, a big green alien.
Yeah.
I love that,
Or do a crossover with another sci-fi show.
Precisely. So my answer to that question is they can expect huge surprises, but for the DNA of the show to remain true to what it is, which I think is the greatest heist they've pulled off this season, is to do both of those things concurrently is nearly impossible, and they've managed to do it, I think. So I never felt like I was in another show. You know what I mean? Whereas
I do.
It would have been really easy for us to go, the aliens are cool, but it kind of feels like we're not in the Ark anymore. It could have been easy for that to be the case. So
yeah, I've seen that before, where I like that term second album syndrome. It's like, am I watching?
Stole it from Richard, by the way.
What's that?
I stole it from Richard. It's not my analogy, but yeah, carry on.
Richard, for you, how about you?
I'm excited for episode 9. We do a really great crossover with another sci-fi show, and we have lots of
big aliens.
I'm just super
it's like a backdoor for Snowfall and the Ark.
Yeah. It's gonna be great. I can't wait for you to see that.
That would be so crazy.
So many
Patrick Stewart is amazing.
It's like, or Chicago PD, since we're on this.
Yeah, exactly. We've got Chicago PD, but with Daleks, so it's good.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. Tune in.
That would be hilarious. Well, very cool. Congratulations to both of you.
Thanks,
Again,
man.
you've each equally done amazing projects. But this is a lot of fun. I can't wait for people to continue to watch. Or if you're just tuning in, please check out our episodes from our cast interviews last time for season 1. But this is great. I just love this show. And I do feel like we are watching something different. It's not like a takeoff on something else. Or like I feel like they're alluding to this or that, but it really is its own story. Congratulations to both of you. Thank you so much for your time. And enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Take
Absolutely.
care.
Thank you.